What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Block is Hot. Today is Monday, which means we're going over this week's best upcoming CNFT mints. Now, I want to start off by saying in this video, guys, that my voice is a little croaky. It's going away a little bit, but I'm going to try my best to get this video out for you guys, and there's not too many projects minting this week, so hopefully we can get through it. But without further ado, let's get into it. I want to start off this video by saying that I haven't really been minting anything for over a month now, maybe even a month and a half, just because the market volume wasn't really supporting all of these new mints coming out. However, things are starting to change, and if you watched Saturday's video about the current market situation, there has been a ton more volume entering the space, and we can even see here, guys, that for the most part in the past month, we were below 1 million ADA worth of volume, or just right above that 1 million ADA worth of volume level. And then in this past week alone, we have been shooting up a lot. We were doing 1.2 million, 1.2 million, 1.1 million, 1.35 million. We had a 2.7 million day, 2 million, 2.4 million, and so far today we've had 1.5 million. And because of all this increased volume heading into the space, I do feel a little bit more confident now minting these different projects. There were a couple big mints this week that are also giving me a little bit more confidence when it comes to minting different projects. Project number one, for example, Pendulum, had wanted 500,000 ADA. They were selling 5,000 of their NFTs for 100 ADA each, and they actually sold out very quickly, and the floor prices are going for 175 ADA right now, which is a 75% gain. So that was a hell of a release to get into. Unfortunately, I slept on that. Split World, they wanted 800,000 ADA, and I didn't go for this release because I thought they wanted too much ADA for the amount of information they released. And right now it is below mint price, but the fact that they were able to sell out all that ADA just after Pendulum had released is very impressive to me. And then on top of that, guys, El Matador, that didn't even have a huge following on Twitter, was also able to sell out 5,000 of their NFTs at 100 ADA each, which is another 500,000 ADA. And even though these guys are also below mint if you got a floor price, it's just insane how all of them have sold out. Like, we haven't really been getting enough volume to do that. And a lot of times, you know, if this was just 2-3 weeks ago, potentially this wouldn't be sold out yet, and these would be 50 ADA. So I'm getting a lot more confidence on minting stuff. And even though I think in the short term, if you get a floor, maybe you don't really make too much money after fees, but I think they're starting to get worth going for, just in the aspect that, like, you might get a really good cheap price for now and have the potential of getting a really rare one, and the downside isn't as big as it used to be. Maybe the downside, you know, a month ago was that you'd lose 50% of your money, but now the downside is, hey, maybe you lose 10 to 15% if you get a floor piece, but then you have the potential of getting something better, so it's actually worth going for. With all that now out of the way, guys, we have our first project on our list, and that is Mad Dog Car Club, or MDCC. They are releasing 9,999 of these dogs on the 8th for 30 ADA each. I want to start off by saying with this project that there is a lot of FUD and a lot of people are crapping on it, and there's two main reasons. Reason number one is the art is pretty bad. I haven't really met anyone that is just in love with this art. It's pretty low quality. And the second thing is some of their marketing tactics have been a little too try hard, or a little sketchy, or in a shady area. But I want to say, guys, that even with saying that, I'm still going to be minting this project. And the reason is because even bad publicity is good publicity. At the end of the day, guys, the number one thing that matters with an NFT project is their marketing and exposure. How many people know about it? Is there hype about it? Are people like, oh my God, other people are gonna mint this, so I have to mint this? That is what's happening with this project. And you can hate the art, and you can hate what they stand for, and you can hate all of this stuff. But the truth of the matter is, guys, is if you can get in at 30 ADA during their mint phase, which who knows if you're gonna be able to, because 10,000 are available for the whitelist, and there's only 10,000 in this project. But if there are some left over and people don't max out their total amount of restriction with their whitelist, then I think this project's going to do good. It's just because so many people have been talking about it. And even in all these different discords where you can vote whether or not you're going for it, including my own community discord, so make sure you join that, guys, in the description, you'll see that people are minting this project. And there are a lot of people from Bosscat Rocket Club minting this project. So at the end of the day, guys, I am going to try to mint this project because there are a lot of people talking about it. And because so many people are talking about it, it means that a lot of people are going to buy this and FOMO into it, and you're probably going to make some money. And there is a narrative, and I talk about narratives all the time, that this could be the next Bosscat Rocket Club. It's all sketchy in the beginning. People don't know if it's a rug pull. There's all these shenanigans going on. Blah, 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 blah. it has sold people on that narrative. And people are going to mint this. And I would be surprised, even though this is a higher risk project in the long term, that in the short term, it doesn't make you money. As far as their roadmap goes, guys, they have a clothing line that they launched on their store where you can get all of these different pieces of merch. They're then going to drop 9,999 of these unique dogs. This is on April 8th, not April 15th. Then afterwards, they're going to have different buybacks if the dogs go too low in price. I actually don't have a problem with this, but I know that's a huge debate in the CNFT scene. But I'm going to make a whole video on why I actually don't think this is a problem and why I actually support doing something like this. Then afterwards, they're going to be giving away some merch and ADA to some random people that basically bought into this project. Then after this, they're saying that they're going to have exclusive monthly rewards where 3 random holders of the top 1,000 ranked dog are going to split 6,000 ADA every month, and then 2 other people are going to receive 1,000 ADA each month. I actually hate when projects do this. I think this is a very bad idea because it's benefiting very few people, and instead of benefiting a lot of people with that ADA, it's like kind of like a lottery, and then we have no idea if they're actually sending it to genuine people that won or if they're sending it to themselves. And then on top of that, how are they going to support 7,000 or 8,000 ADA every single month? Like, they have no idea how much money they're going to make off royalties. Some of these top projects don't even get that much royalties each month. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's nice that they're at least putting something down. They're saying they're having different upcoming events. They're going to have their first event on September 10th in Los Angeles, and then they're going to be at CNFT Con. Now, the big thing with this project, though, is that they are going to be releasing cars, and there's going to be 3 separate car collections, and it's going to act a lot like the Boss Cat rockets or these Smooth Yeti snowmobiles that are coming out, where you need to get multiple parts in order to put it together and get the complete package. Now, I actually really love this idea, and I think that this idea works very, very well, and Boss Cat Rocket Club has really been able to utilize those parts and those rockets a ton, and it also brings just a lot more hype into the project. So I talk about finding projects that have catalyst news in the future. This is catalyst news that are going to bring those prices back and help those prices in the long-term scenario. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the art, and I'm not even necessarily a fan of their roadmap or some of their marketing tactics, I do think this project is worth going for if you can get in at that 30 ADA price. I would not recommend buying this project on the secondary marketplace because we have no idea how well they're going to deliver in the long term. If you are buying this for 30 ADA, I recommend quick flipping it because I do think we're going to have a pullback as soon as hype dies down. And then if you're a long-term believer in the project or you just want to gamble some money and hope this turns into a Boss Cat Rocket Club situation, then maybe you scoop some up and you hold for the long term. The big thing that we have to worry about here, guys, is that the whitelist people are able to get 5, 10, or 12, and the worst whitelist can get 2. So we got to think that a lot of those people are going to buy just to dump it on the market because you're not going to keep all 10 or 12 of your Mad Dogs. Maybe you only keep 1 or 2, so they're going to dump 8. And that's what happened with Smooth Yeti Mountain Club. They were allowed to buy 10 at a time, and that's why on the secondary market for so long, they were only going for about 30 ADA to 50 ADA just because so many people had multiple. So keep that in mind, guys. The next project on our list today, guys, are PastelBudz. They are releasing 6,868 of their PastelBudz on the 10th of March for 45 ADA each. I actually really like the way these PastelBudz look. They look like a better version of Bright Pals with all of these different unique layers and accessories such as this flame head or this wart head or, you know, these crystals or shards going off of their skulls. And if you see here, guys, we can see even more previews of all of these different colorful backgrounds and personalities and face changes and accessories like these night vision goggles and a scientist theme and a zombie theme. I mean, they look really good. And the big thing is we need something to match the doodles of Ethereum. People are going to be looking for that narrative. And even though Bright Pals is the first one, Bright Pals really hasn't been delivering on a lot of stuff. They've kind of just been sitting there and their price has just been going down and down and down over time as there hasn't really been anything new. So it kind of excites me a little bit that we have another project with this sort of art style, but they have the potential of doing something that Bright Pals, unfortunately, in my opinion, has failed on. As far as their roadmap goes, guys, they are having this main release of these PastelBudz, and then then they're going to be developing a collect to earn game in this quarter as well. I don't know what this collect to earn game is really going to look like, but it also looks like they have this utility token being released. So I'm guessing it's, probably something simple where you can just go on, press a couple buttons and get your utility token. And then that token is going to be able to be used in their marketplace where you can get different collectibles and merchandise. They're also going to be doing a couple of donations and have prize tournaments with different games in their Discord to help boost the community, such as trivia, poker, whatever game they want to play. Then later in this year, they are going to airdrop these 3D PastelBudz. That could be a catalyst news that increases this price over time if you are trying to hold this or swing trade it. And then they're also saying they're going to do this whole Pastelverse. Now, a lot of projects are saying they're doing some sort of metaverse that requires a tremendous amount of resources. And now I almost see metaverses on websites being a detractor for me. Like if you're saying you're going to have a metaverse, that's almost a detractor because that means you're promising things that you probably don't know the scale of. So I'd almost rather see people say, hey, we're going to invest in a metaverse project rather than making our own, because if they're saying they're going to do some sort of Pastelverse, what else could they potentially be lying about or not know how much work it's going to take? Some of the team is doxed and have their LinkedIns. The big thing though is, guys, is that anyone can put anyone's LinkedIn. So unless we have, a face-to-face interview or they show themselves on social media and then we can connect that to LinkedIn, then having LinkedIns really don't matter. And unfortunately, a lot of different scammers have been doing this tactic now and just putting random people's LinkedIns. So be a little careful. Just because they have a profile here doesn't necessarily mean they're doxed. In this situation, I think they're doxed, but we can't confirm that. The team has 4,300 followers and they do have a good price to mint to follower ratio. A lot of their tweets are getting a decent amount of engagement as well. And even in Justin's competition, PastelBudz, that hasn't even launched yet, did beat out Papertopia and Project 2090. I'm personally going to be on the sidelines for PastelBudz, and I'm just going to be paying attention to how many are actually minting. If it's minting fast, then I'll probably scoop up a few and hope I can get a good quick flip or swing trade, or maybe just hold it for a long-term investment. But one thing that I want to show you guys that is a pro tip is that you can look up a lot of these projects while they're still minting on JPEG Store, and you can copy their policy ID. You can then go to Cardano Scan and you can paste that policy ID, and you're going to be able to see the total amount of tokens. So in the case for ADA Digis, they had 4,000 of these ADA Digis, and you can see here, guys, that they have 4,001 of these total tokens that were minted. If a project is minting, such as PastelBudz, you're going to be able to copy their policy ID, and you're going to be able to see like how fast they're being minted. So there's going to be 6,868 of these. If I start seeing them sell out pretty quick and I start seeing this number go up a lot, very, very rapidly, then that gives me a little bit more confidence to go for it. But if it's only at like 500 within the first hour, then there isn't enough hype to really support it, and then that's when I take a step back. The last project on our list today, guys, is Clay Nation and their Baked Nation, as well as their Sonic Village and Underworld. These are going to be releasing on the 10th of April. And there's going to be 12,600 pitches or pieces of land for Baked Nation. There's going to be 10,000 for Sonic Village, and then 9,437 for the Underworld. We currently don't know how much these cost yet, but that is going to be announced soon. In my personal opinion, guys, Baked Nation is a no-brainer, and I will be going as hard as possible to get as many as I can in this public sale. This is the main one you're going to want to go for. This is the one that's going to give you access to the Snoop Dogg Baked collection in the future. And I'd be very surprised as a long-term investment if you didn't make an absolute killing off this retail price, as long as they don't charge something absolutely ridiculous. Now, this isn't financial advice, but I'm just telling you guys what I'm doing. I'm getting as many as possible. And then in the secondary market, I'm going to be getting as many as possible as long as the price is right. And that's why you guys need to join the community Discord, because I try to be active in there and give you guys my live opinion on different things. Now, as far as Sonic Village and Underworld, we have to realize, guys, that they're releasing over 30,000 pitches all at the same time. When you have Clay Nation, and then you have the Good Charlotte, and then you have Clay Fellas, and you have Clay Buds, and now you have 30,000 more pitches being added. There just isn't enough volume in the CNFT ecosystem to really support that yet, or people that are just super into Clay stuff. So what I think is going to happen is people are going to buy it, it's going to go crazy for about a day, and then, or maybe 2 days, and then over a week, over 2 weeks, over 3 weeks, it's just going to keep going lower and lower and lower and lower until we find the proper amount of support. As a long-term investment, I think these are going to do really well, but as a long-term investment, in the short term, there's just too much flooding the market for it to really hold, high prices. So in my opinion, guys, the best strategy if you hold these Clay Nations is once again to sell it beforehand. I think that we could hit our peak on the 8th or 9th of this month, right before that major release. I think this interview tomorrow could bring up a lot more hype on the 5th, and this could send the price of Clay Nations to potentially 4K. But then I think right after this whole whitelist, it's going to go down a decent amount. The whole reason that I would have held Clay Nation was to get into Baked Nation. But Baked Nation is the one project that isn't whitelist required and is for the public. So in my opinion, once again, guys, it doesn't make sense to hold your Clay Nations. It's much better to take that profit, wait for the secondary market, capitalize on the opportunity that is going to present itself because they're basically flooding the market, and be able to pick some of these up on the secondary for the low. I'm personally going to be targeting Baked Nation though. I'm going to be trying to get, once again, I'm going to be trying to get as many as possible of the Baked Nation in the public, but then I'm going to be trying to get as many of these Baked Nation keys, or what they're releasing, these pitches, because I think that has the highest potential. Because I'm telling you guys right now, that collab with Snoop Dogg and Clay and having a genuine Baked Nation 1-for-1 collection is going to be worth an absolute fortune, and is going to be one of the biggest collabs this CNFT space has ever seen. So yeah, not financial advice, but definitely pay attention. Before I end this video today, guys, I just want to remind everyone to do your own research. You have to do your own research. I have all these different videos and guides on my channel that are going to help you elevate your game so you know what I'm doing, right? Like, don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to other people. Like, learn how to do this yourself. Learn what to look for in projects. Dissect these different videos that me and other content providers are putting out so you guys can make a more educated decision on yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, guys, is news changes very quickly. And by the time I release a video, 2-3 days later, the situation could be completely different. Like when I called Chilled Kongs, when I bought 5 Chilled Kongs a couple days ago, they were only 600 ADA. And now they're 950 ADA. So even though I think Chilled Kongs is still a good buy right now, it's like it went up 50-60% since I made the video, guys. And Clay Nation, I hadn't seen their announcement yet saying that the 10th was going to be the main day. If I had seen that the 10th was going to be the main release of their Clayverse, then you bet your butt I would have held this till the 8th or 9th and I wouldn't have sold it yet. So just remember that, like, things change very quickly. And if you have any questions about whether or not my opinion has changed, the Discord is the best place for you to ask me. It might take me a while to answer some of these things. Maybe it could take up to 5-6 hours for me to respond, but at least you know you're going to get a response from me or different people in the Discord, so you have a little bit better of an idea. But yeah, all that being said, guys, good luck on these releases this week, and I hope everyone here has an awesome day.